Hey, and good Tuesday morning, everybody. It's your favorite weatherman, Greg Majeski, here, checking out the latest here on Hurricane Milton. It's going to be an interesting day. We've seen some big transitions overnight. One thing I will say is the storm will not get back to its previous strength. That will not happen. It is becoming a different type storm as expected for today. It's still a very powerful hurricane. We can't kid ourselves there on that. We're dealing with a storm that is still very much a major storm, a Category 4 hurricane. The pressure bottomed out yesterday at 897 millibars, making it the fifth strongest on record, but the pressure this morning is back up to 929 millibars. Hey, if you are coming in and checking in, you're coming new to the channel here, please hit that subscribe button. We're going to work on getting that subscriber number up today. I've made that my mission today to get. We need to build this audience up, and I can't do it without y'all's help. So we're going to really work on this today, work on it definitely for sure with our extensive coverage for tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be another late landfall. I'm still waiting from the Hurricane Center. This is why it's part of the reason why I always would wait like 5 minutes before I would start these streams, because they're notoriously slow at updating their graphic here for the intermediate advisory. So it's a little bit of a headache. It still hasn't updated yet. I'm still going here. I'm hitting my refresh in here, refreshing the cache page and waiting for them. There it is. Finally showed up. It just takes, you got to keep checking back in it. So those are the latest coordinates at 22.5 north and 88.8 west. It's picked up some speed, east-northeast now at 12 miles per hour. A couple of also minor changes here with the path. I'm going to show you this a little bit over from the 5 o'clock. I don't think they changed it here on the 8 o'clock. Now, obviously, we do have a couple things we got to point out here. Obviously, we've got some new stuff to look at here as far as the wall is concerned. So let me go to studio mode real quick. I need to check something here real quick. Make sure that this one, I got to make sure this graphic is behaving properly. Hey, and look at that, it is. All right, so let's go over to the wall. Let's talk a little bit, shall we? It's a little bit slightly different, but pretty close enough here. So again, we still got our warnings down here along the coast. We got our warnings over here, and let me get switched over here real quick. Somehow I didn't switch over there. Let me go back to studio mode here again. Oh, there we go. All right, so there we go. Just too many windows open, too many windows. So notice we do got the hurricane warnings now on the other coast because of the speed at which it's moving in. Still expecting about 125 mile per hour winds at landfall and being a hurricane as it merges across the coast. So we're talking Tampa, we're talking Orlando, and looking through there. All right. Now the question is, the storm is going to weaken. We know that. The question is how much. And there's several factors in place here I want to talk about here to kind of get you here, explain what we're looking at. Still looking at a major storm surge here. But again, the difference between a Cat 3 and a Cat 2 can make a difference in the amount of storm surge that gets there. Plus, also, its direction. I'm going to take you over to Radar Mega here. I want to show you the track and kind of show you a little bit here about why this is such a big deal. We're talking tens of miles here, and boy, it can make all the difference in the world of whether Tampa gets inundated, flooding Tampa and St. Petersburg, or if it stays to the south and they don't get much of anything. So it is really a big deal. So let me go over here. I want to show you this. I'm going to go over here to Radar Mega here. We're going to talk about the storm surge. We're going to talk about Tampa, okay? So let me go back over here and we'll get this going. Again, if you're checking in new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're going to really work on getting our viewership up here for today, making that my big mission here. So again, this service is to provide for you guys. If you have any questions, please, again, put it down below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and get you into that. And we got a lot of stuff I can cover. I got power outages. I got traffic conditions. I got everything on here. I'm ready to go. So, okay, here we go. Radar Mega here. I want to illustrate something. Now, this is the official path here. It is just south of the bay. Okay, this would put out all the storm surge down here. Sarasota, Eagleton, down to Cape Coral. That whole area would be if it stays south, that means the wind is actually going this way. So it's actually draining the bay, so they don't get the storm surge. So, but the thing is, with this kind of situation, with this kind of setup, at that angle of attack, any wobble to the left or the right of that center circulation can make the big difference between Tampa getting just inundated with the worst storm surge they've seen in their history, or they get nothing, and everything stays down here to the south. And also means the further south it goes, this cove down here will obviously get a greater storm surge. So, this area down here, down toward the south, down toward Fort Myers area, Port Charlotte, this area down here got inundated by Charlie back in 2004. All right, so this thing shifting further south is bad news for them, good news for Tampa. But if we got to go on which area would cost a lot more as far as dollar amount, that's the big one. Tampa, we got 3.5 million people up there. It's a little more populated area right in there, to say the least. So let's talk about the watches and warnings again. We got pretty much everybody into this thing right now. The whole state of Florida is under the key here. I'm not sure why that changed there. I'm not sure why that zoomed in, but we'll check on that a little bit later. I think. But right now, this is how it's looking out there on the beaches this morning. Not looking too bad there at Siesta. Siesta Key is just south of Tampa. Even on that track, we could be looking at some very dangerous storm surge in that area here as that comes in. Right now, looking pretty bad, not looking bad out there at all, but those beach conditions are definitely going to get a little bit worse here as we go through the day today, and especially tomorrow. That's when things are really going to kind of kick up there. I do have the latest severe weather outlook and stuff here for you. We can break down those things for you. So again, the tornado risk here, they have shifted the slight risk slightly a bit for the north. I think that's with the earlier track. Anything to the right of that center of circulation, that's where your tornado threat's going to be the highest there. So we're talking about Miami, Tampa, Healy, Florida, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and that slight risk there. And that zone, basically from Tampa, Orlando over to Daytona south, that's where that highest risk for tornadoes are going to run there, running about 10%. Again, we're talking about weak stuff. We're talking about, EF0 to EF1 type tornadoes, fairly weak, but they can do some damage, especially if they hit home directly or something like that. So the tornado risk is going to be high. Obviously, the flooding risk is going to be running high as well, although not quite as bad as what it was showing yesterday. And part of the reason for that is the amount of rain we got with that stuff that came through yesterday and coming in today. Not nearly as robust as what was showing earlier. So that's some good news there. At least the ground won't be quite as saturated as what was originally kind of showing there as far as the rainfall amounts is concerned. So again, if you're just kind of joining us now, here is the latest coordinates on this. I want to get into this. Let me pull that back out. There we go. We got this storm that's expected to make landfall. Looks like right about 1 o'clock in the morning. That is central. That was 2 o'clock in the morning on. You're obviously going into Eastern daylight time. So we're looking at another nighttime storm. Helene made landfall about 11:30 at night. This one's going to be like 2 in the morning, but we'll see if that changes anything, any kind of change in the forward speed, if it speeds up or if it slows down. That would make all the difference in the world. I'd probably lean more to maybe speeding up a little bit just for some of the dynamics that are going on in the area there. So we'll see how that will be impacted, as it has to still go over some pretty decent warm water between there and there. I want to highlight this. The loop right there to the south of Florida, that's some pretty warm water there that's still got to go through. All right, so the storm is sitting down in here. Oops, sorry about that. Sitting right down in here, and you can see this warm loop right through here. I really hate the OBS. OBS Telestrator is terrible. But you can kind of see right there, it's got that warm water to go through. So I think what that may do is it may allow the storm to kind of hold its own. But we do have a couple of outside parameters that may influence the storm here a little bit, and that is in the form of some of this dry air. Look at some of this dry air that is up across the northern portions of the Gulf of Mexico. That's that area in yellow. This is the water vapor imagery here. And if it gets any of that dry air kind of sucked into this storm, that would definitely help weaken it. Now, as it also moves to the north, there's also the possibility of wind shear. Wind shear, of course, is strong upper level winds. If it gets over that center of circulation, it can disrupt the flow because, again, I always say that you think of a hurricane as one big chimney. All the air comes in at the bottom. It flows out the top like a chimney, but the chimney gets obscured anyway, and the engine can't breathe as well. So it's not a really excellent breather there. So we'll wait and see. Right now, it's still looking pretty healthy. It doesn't look like it's being impaired by any of that dry air just yet. And actually, looking at the latest imagery on this, it looks like it's trying to clear out the eye again. The eye, it definitely went through what's known as an eye wall replacement cycle. That eye yesterday is down to about 4 miles in diameter. I mean, we're talking extremely tight. I don't ever recall seeing an eye that was that small when the pressure bottomed out at 897 millibars. Like I said, it's up right now. It's as strong as it was with Helene, when Helene was about 145 miles per hour at landfall. So this one is on par with that. I think what we're going to probably see for most of the day is a hurricane that's probably going to hold its own. It's going to hold its own. It's going to continue to move up here toward the north and east. and kind of head up there. I think where the best chance for the weekend is going to take place is probably going into tomorrow. I think the storm will probably kind of hold its same strength here. Let me go back over here and kind of look at a couple things here. Actually, yeah, they do. I was just looking at the new update. It just updated here, so bear with me here for a second. Yeah, they do strengthen it back up. Just looking at the eye there, I can tell it looks like it's starting to clear out again. So let me go back over to Radar Omega here and take you over to this venue because I got the plot on top of here. So right now they've got the winds at 145 miles per hour and a pressure at 929 millibars. They are expecting it to go back up to 160, back to a Cat 5. Remember, I just showed you I got that warm water that's out ahead of it there. And that's by 2 o'clock this afternoon. So they are anticipating the hurricane to re-intensify back to a Category 5 hurricane. I think I said, like I said, at least hold its own for today. It's going toward tomorrow. And then by the time we head toward tomorrow, they back it back down to 155 here by the time we head into early tomorrow morning. And then as we get toward tomorrow afternoon, by 2 o'clock, they have it back down to 145. So that is right there. And then the landfall still showing at 125 mile per hour winds. That is a major Category 3 hurricane there as it continues to race across Florida. Now, with the turn a little bit further to the south, and this turn is a little bit further south, it does, Orlando doesn't look like it's going to get the center of it, although it does appear with some of the model guidance that we're probably going to see some of the higher winds are going to stay on the north side of the storm. So again, this is kind of weird. We got a storm again. You're not dealing with a storm that's going, north south. No, we're going east west. So it's a little bit different when you're dealing with that kind of situation. So the wind profile will be a little different as well. I did get a couple things here added here. I did add a new traffic feature here. This is going to be really neat to kind of look at and see how things are going. Right now, the traffic conditions there, it was looking really bad last night. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of progresses here for today. But looking at the traffic maps here, there are some heavy traffic here on 75 heading northbound, and we can actually look at some of the traffic that's kind of coming out of here real quick. We'll just kind of highlight one of these cameras there. It doesn't look too bad there. Kind of get the video here streaming. At least it's moving, but you see the heavy traffic there heading northbound as folks are beginning to evacuate the zone there coming out of the Tampa area. So it's going to be heavy traffic, folks heading northward. I will say this, the airport there in Tampa will be closing today. Oops, I need to close that. So that's going to have, the Orlando airport's probably going to close tomorrow, shutting down for that. That's the way it's looking right now. We did post yesterday, if you didn't heard, there's areas in Albany, Georgia. There's spots up there for any of the RVers, anybody wants to camp, get out off the side. That is going to be open to people for today. Looking at the regional radar here across Florida, most of the rain is down across that stationary boundary down toward the south. The saving grace here for the southeast and everything else is the fact that you get that frontal system there up there toward the north. So that is a big deal there with that frontal system up here. And that'll protect areas there up along Georgia and Alabama and all that area up there. I know the folks there in Georgia wondering, hey, where are we going to get there? It depends on how far north this thing goes and where it makes the turn. But some of these areas down here in extreme southeast Georgia could get impacted a little bit. There's no question at all that may happen a little bit. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, my name is Greg, by the way, your personal weatherman here on the Weather Nerds channel. Be a pleasure to welcome you here on board. Help you drive our number up here a little bit. We've been kind of stuck here for a little bit, trying to get to 5,000. We're going to be giving away some free no weather radios when we get to 5,000. We're hoping to get there by the October 1st. Didn't quite make it, but we're going to try to get there by the end of the year, and we could really use your help to help grow the channel. Also, if you're coming on through, make sure before you leave out, people kind of coming in and come out, give a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. It does help with the YouTube algorithm as we continue to try and grow this channel for y'all's benefit. All right, we're going to make this thing the best thing we can do. All right, if you got any questions also, by the way, please post them down below. I've got the chat ninjas back up in morning. We'll say Marcus first. Hey, good morning, y'all. See, I got the chat working again this morning. And what's up? There you go, guys. How y'all doing? Good morning. And we got Cheryl Scott watching from Columbus. Good morning, Cheryl. How you doing? Good to see you. And we got Tommy Dean back in the house. Tommy, good to see you. I love having this little feature. It's going to be able to interact and kind of talk to everybody. If you're just kind of coming in, you're just checking in, you're gone, and you're getting your coffee on, wondering what's going on with the hurricane here. Again, we're looking at a storm that's a major hurricane, Category 4 storm, still 145 mile per hour winds. Just looked at the official stuff coming out here. We're expecting it to go back to Category 5, however, briefly. And then as we get to tomorrow, when the environment won't be quite as good, we are expecting it to weaken a little bit. We haven't talked about model data yet, so let's go over here and talk about the models here. We're going to look at the European model data. We're going to look at that first. So let's go over here and take a look at the model data here, and we'll take and see how things are going here. So stand by for a second. I'll go over to this model data here, and here we go. So we're looking at the European model here. European hasn't done a very good job as far as its strength is concerned with the system. It does strengthen it this afternoon, but it's just not on the level of where it is right now. But the European models, I'll go ahead and take this forward here. Again, still showing a direct hit on Tampa. That has not wavered. I know the Weather Service adjusted the track down to the south just a little bit, but the European, I'll tell you, did a very, very good job with Helene, and it's been very, very consistent. But again, the problem with a system like this is that when you're talking about tens of miles here, and I want to see if I can go into, I want to go in a little bit closer on this. So let's go to Florida here. I'm going to switch over to Florida so get a little bit closer. So you can again see here, this is coming right over the bay here, and this is actually even slower. This is even slower than what they're showing. Officially, the Hurricane Center is saying about 2 o'clock in the morning. This is showing a landfall here on the European at 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. So this is a little bit slower. It does bring I see the pressure down to 959, 952, 955. So it's starting to weaken as it approaches. It bottoms out at 952 right about here. And that is 11 o'clock the night before. And then right at landfall, it's at 959. And then it comes up to 966 after it makes landfall. So it is a weakening trend as it approaches. So the question is, how much does it weaken, and how does that impact the winds here as it goes across? Now, I will say this. It does appear that northeast motion is not quite as certain. There's one little change with the European. I do see that the Hurricane Center track is showing where it's kind of moving more from west to east instead of northeast. It looks like it's coming northeastward, and then it kind of turns a little bit, goes across. So it stays south of Orlando and south of Cape Canaveral, whereas yesterday it was a little bit further north, and then it kind of moves on out to sea. So that's the European model there. Let's look at the wind field here. We're going to look at this is the 0Z on the halves. I like to call it the halves. Halves A model here. So again, it's very compact storm still showing here on the system, although looking at the satellite imagery, we could tell it's definitely gotten a little bit bigger here. So the storm's coming in here. It's coming into Florida. And when I get to landfall, boom, look at this. Wow, look at that. 126, 123, 108 mile per hour winds, dead hit right on St. Petersburg and on Tampa. So we're looking at significant storm surge. And where that eye is right there, let me clear that out. Again, you got a lot of water going into that bay that would be inundated. So again, this really could be a situation, folks, where we're dealing with a landfall and hurricane, but any wobble in that eye, like I said, it's because the models are so clustered together. Any kind of wobble to the left or the right can make all the difference in the world for Tampa. If it wobbles a little more left, it's going to just wobbling more to the north won't change the fact that Tampa is going to get significant storm surge. But any wobble to the south saves them, because if the core of the hurricane tracks a little bit further south, say down towards Siesta Key, which is just south of there, Siesta Key would be, say, right down here. Let's say the center goes in down here. If it does, then the storm surge here is going to be less, because the water will be flowing outward. Where that eye tracks is going to be crucial. It's going to be king. So when I'm doing my live coverage, extensive coverage here for this landfall and hurricane, I'll be watching those wobbles and see where exactly that eye. It will be kind of an nowcast type thing. That's what I call a nowcast type event when we're getting into that. The models are behaving pretty well with this one. Unlike Helene, which was kind of kept trying to lean it back to the left to the right, these are clustered pretty well together. But you still got a pretty decent, cone of uncertainty there. Look back again here at the Milton there. See that cone of uncertainty there? It's still fairly wide there. So again, that can make such a significant difference here because of the fact. Oops, let me get that back up here. Come back up. Thank you. Didn't mean to close that off. So you see where the cone is, way back up here and way down here. So it is quite a bit different to see that, and we'll see if that's going to continue there. And I may have just crashed my system. So nope, it didn't crash. Thank you. I got to redo my drawer for that page. I'll do that again, but I'm not going to do it while I'm broadcasting because OBS sometimes gets a little fickle. If I do something it doesn't like, it'll crash on me. I thought, oh, please don't crash. Hey, if you're new here to the channel, I just want to invite you to go ahead and please hit that subscribe button there if you have not joined us here on the Weather Nerds channel. We're a small weather channel. You know, we're not like some of the big boys out there in the YouTube universe. So we need all the help you can get to help grow our audience and also to maintain our presence in the YouTube algorithm, which is the do-all be-all when it comes to broadcasting live events. Learned that back in April when I almost going to hang it up because I couldn't get anybody to come in here. So if you do me a favor before you leave, because the average turnover here, and I haven't looked at the data here, is only about 3 minutes. So if you're coming through, again, just leave a comment down below, give a like. I'd appreciate that. And if you like, tell me where you're from. Go ahead and put a comment down below. I can pull up your chats here. I've been kind of chatting with some of these people here this morning, saying good morning to everybody. And there's Brandy here. Hey, Brandy, good to see you this morning. Brandy and Joan, you're right there. Joan on Facebook is saying, yeah, we're praying for Florida. Absolutely. And thank you for that new subscriber. That's what I'm talking about. You guys can make it happen. This channel is for you. It's not about me. It's about getting this information out to the bigger audience as a whole. You know, I know some folks do this for a living. I'm semi-retired. I got my own business here, but I do this because it's my passion. It's what I love to do. I did it in TV for a lot of years, and I just really want to try to give out the best information possible without being over the top and without scaring everybody there. So BL Vaughn, hey, BL Vaughn, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for coming on board here. And, you know, it's a pleasure and honor to meet you. That's for sure. All right, let's talk about storm surge. Okay, storm surge is the big thing here. And this map has not changed much. So we're still looking at the potential for a 10 to 15 foot storm surge. Again, we're talking about that area there in purple. That's the big key there. There you see it there from the Antelope River coming down this way. So right through there, that is where we're looking at the highest storm surge coming in. You've got some storm surge on the other coast as well. But again, like I said, that exact track is so critical. I want to show this. If you didn't see this yesterday, I'm going to show it again. I'll probably show it repeatedly here for the next few days, but I do want to show a couple of different things here. All right, so this here kind of shows, this illustrates the different levels of storm surge. Okay, it's not a forecast. It just talks about the different levels. So we're going to take this back down to a double. This is a category 1, and thank you for that new subscriber. I appreciate you coming on board. Sometimes the Streamlabs doesn't alert me to everybody's name, but I do want to acknowledge everybody that does subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate that. 2 more, and we've got another milestone, 4,800. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, so Cat 1, you see that this is Tampa Bay. This is the whole Barry St. Petersburg area. Doesn't look that bad. You got some minor flooding. We take it to a Cat 2. Uh-oh. Now we're seeing things, see a lot more orange on that map. That's getting above 9 feet of storm surge. And hey, there we go, Nancy. Hey, Nancy, there you go. It's just a little delay there, but thank you, Nancy, for coming on board. I appreciate you. Good morning. We got Cat 3, and that's what we're expecting. Look at the flooding there, and boy, I mean, we're talking St. Petersburg practically getting cut off. If this thing stayed a Cat 4, look at that, boom. I mean, we're talking catastrophic flooding of an epic scale. So the difference between a Cat 4, you see that, and a Cat 1, big difference. So the strength is going to be critical to this storm. How strong it is going to impact on what kind of storm surge we're going to see being pushed in the waters there. Now, again, that's just an illustration of the different levels. Let's look at the forecast, okay? I want to look at the forecast here, and this is one of the forecast models here, and it's still, this one is still showing the old track right now. It's still showing that. They're a little slow to update the track here, but you kind of get the gist here. Again, if it stays north, if it goes in there and all that water goes into the bay, the area there that's going to see the worst of the flooding is going to be that area there of the north and the back part of Tampa into this zone right here. That is the worst. It could be upwards of 12, upwards of 15 feet in that area. That's why so many people are getting out of town because, again, we're talking Tampa, St. Petersburg, it's like about 3.1 million people in this zone. There is a lot of people in there. So a lot of folks were getting out of town last night. I was looking at the traffic last night when we were doing our broadcast, which I shouldn't have been doing since I was going up against some of the bigger boys out there were streaming at the same time. So it was like, oh, couldn't do that. But anyway, the thing is, a lot of folks are heeding this because they saw what happened with Helene. The other problem with this is the fact that they're still cleaning up. They're still trying to clean up from the mess that was left behind before. With the debris that's still on the side of the road. That's the bad thing about this whole situation is the fact that They're still cleaning up. There's debris that's piles of it on the floor, and that's new storm surge coming in. It's going to take all that debris. It's going to push it all inland and probably cause even more damage potentially. So I'm really hoping and praying, hey, the storm weakens some more and that the path is a little bit further south. I hate to do that for the other people that are going to get impacted, but let's just be honest with you. The damage toll for Helene was through the roof. If we can minimize this damage as much as possible, let's hope so. But it needs to stay south of the Tampa Bay area, getting in there toward the Air Force Base that's there, St. Petersburg. It's just a major metropolitan area. This will be on par to New Orleans, Katrina. I can't candy coat that enough. So anyway, let's go ahead. I want to go through the charts here. Hey, Michael, what the Tampa area did not need? Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right about that, Michael. Absolutely. That's something they darn sure don't need. And there is our Irish Queen there. Good morning to you. Let's see. Helene, let's say here. Oops, sorry, Michael. What are you saying here? Helene really messed up the area, and what was left will be taken out by Milton. Hopefully, we'll be okay. Everyone will be okay. Hey, are you in that area, Michael? Let me know where you're from there. I do appreciate that. Hey, let me show you a couple things here as well. I wanted to show the fact that we're not done with Helene yet. I mean, God bless. It's been almost 2 weeks now. With this, and we're still dealing with the power outages here. Still about 1,600 customers there in Florida, most of that the Florida Panhandle. Let's see, Georgia's down to 56,000 power outages. South Carolina's at 21,000. North Carolina down to 121. Still a lot up there in North Carolina. But this Florida one's going to come up quite a bit, especially as it cuts from Tampa, Orlando, that whole central area there. That whole corridor is going to be inundated here with, obviously, power outages. Now, I did make some adjustments here on my Outlook here. I do want to show this. This is my, oh, you're in Crestview. Oh, I'm familiar with Crestview. My in-laws used to live in Defuniak Springs there, Michael. Absolutely. Here's what I made some adjustments on this map here, and I do want to kind of illustrate this. So let me get this over. So I did bring the flooding down just a little bit to a moderate level because the storm's going to be moving pretty good, and we didn't get as much rain beforehand as what was originally the models were showing. So I brought that down a little bit. Wind damage still running pretty high. Tornado risk, I'm keeping that kind of between the moderate and high level there. Storm surge, I'm still keeping that very high. Again, we're talking from Yankeetown down to Bonita Beach in that standard area, depending on where this thing makes its landfall. And then looking at power outages, those will be significant right there in the middle stretch of Florida, cutting across from Tampa over to Daytona Beach, and I'd say go 50 miles either side. You're going to see that as that core of that hurricane comes on through there. Hey, we're coming up on 8:30 this morning. I was going to go for maybe an hour and 15 minutes here for this morning for this initial talk through. If you have any questions, please post them down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what you waiting for? Come on, be part of this family, okay? I know there's a lot of folks out there on YouTube. I know there's the Godfather, Ryan Hall, the Godfather. That's what I call him, if you haven't known that. I call him the Godfather because he was the first one that figured this out, that, hey, you know what? You can make a little business doing this if you do this. Now he's an industry to himself. I will tell you this, I'm going to give you the facts, I'm going to give it to you straight, and I'm not going to go over the top with the hypeness, okay? That's one thing I will not do. A lot of YouTube channels go way overboard on some of that stuff, and I'm just not going to play that game. I won't not give up my integrity to sit there and try to get viewers and say, every storm is the storm of the century. Not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I know a lot of TV meteorologists have gotten to really kind of get a little irritated with what's going on in the YouTube universe. But we are up to 100 views here for this morning. Not bad for a half hour. Can't complain about that. And we only need 2 more subscribers. So if you're a part of the 22 people out there looking right now, haven't subscribed, please consider. Just hit that subscribe button there. And let's see if we can get another 2 to get to our milestone here and get to 4,800. And just to let you know, I'm planning on doing additional updates here. I'm going to do one at 11 o'clock. Probably going to go to about 9:15. I got to go to see my dad's. My dad's a retired Vietnam veteran. I take care of him down the street. I got to meet with his caretaker this morning, talk about his caretaker plan. So I got to go leave for a little bit. I'm going to come back at 11 o'clock. We'll probably do about an hour or so, go into the lunch hour, and then we'll come back at 2. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to have extended coverage here for about a 3 or 4 hour block here for this evening. I may start a little bit earlier to get on that, and we'll see how that goes. And I want to try to keep you informed on all the changes, because just like we saw rapid changes yesterday, we're going to see it again here for today. We're going to see a lot of things that are going to happen. The thing I'm watching here as I'm going back to the water vapor imagery, you see all that yellow? That, my friend, is dry air. Dry air is a hurricane's kryptonite. Dry air and wind shear. And we're going to hope and see that we get some wind shear and some stuff in the storm. Probably not going to happen today. The fact that the Hurricane Center expects this storm to become a Cat 5 again. It's a Cat 4 at 145 mile per hour winds currently, but they are expecting it to go back up to a Cat 5. Let's look at some of these live cameras here. Again, I got a couple of Key West. I'm kind of looking at, see, they're kind of on the outer periphery of this, but we kind of see the live shot there. This is actually where the cruise ship was yesterday. Last night, there was actually still a cruise ship docked there. But I suspect we're not going to see a cruise ship there for a couple more days, to say the least, there for a while. This is Siesta Key. This is where I project right now that we're going to see the worst storm surge. Don't know how long we're going to have this camera here, obviously, going in. It'll be nighttime anyway. You won't really be able to see much, but we're going to see how angry those seas get, especially going into tomorrow afternoon. I promise you, this view is going to look a lot different than it's looking right now. Not looking too bad. Even a little filtered sunshine maybe coming in there as well right now. And going down further down the beach, down toward Naples, toward the pier down there, again, further south, see some rain out on the horizon. But the seas right now look relatively calm. But again, that's going to change, folks, big time, as this big hurricane is like dropping a big rock in a big pond known as the Gulf of Mexico. And, you know, what's interesting is this is actually the 10th major hurricane in the last 7 years in the Gulf of Mexico. One thing we cannot deny about climate change or anything else is that the Gulf of Mexico has been boiling. It's not been cooling off as much as it should. It's been retaining a lot of heat. The previous, if you go back before the previous 30 years, we had 10 total over a 30-year period up till about 7 years ago. In the last 7 years we've had, this will be the 10th major hurricane to strike the Gulf Coast in the last 7 years. That is just a very, very traumatic number to see a big jump like that. So let me go back here again. Let's go here. Oh, hey, thank you very much. Hey, somebody sent a little money there on the dollar there on Facebook. Hey, thank you, Crystal. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Although I still haven't figured out how to deal with that on Facebook. I just set that up on Facebook, and but I will tell you, every dime, every penny, anything. I do not keep any of this money that is donated to the channel. What I do is I'm obviously doing some weather radio giveaways. Not doing it on Facebook, not doing over there just yet. That's a different audience, but I am doing it on the YouTube side. So if you're on Facebook and you want to subscribe on the YouTube channel, please do that. That way you're automatically enrolled to win a free No Weather Radios. I was taking some of my earnings, which is not a lot, on YouTube, and I was going to buy 8 weather radios when we got to 5,000 subscribers. So I'm going to give that away to you guys as we go once we get to 5,000. I'm going to let my daughters do it. I'm not going to do it. So let's look at our big boy here. You can see him. It's one thing's clear. I think you could tell pretty clearly. Boy, that hurricane looks a lot different than it did yesterday. The big thing I noticed is its size. It's grown in size. The wind field has expanded on this. And let me read. I haven't done this yet because we've been kind of shooting the crap and doing a lot of stuff here for a second. So let me get that up real quick. I want to look at the latest wind profile and everything on here. So to make sure I'm telling you the right information. So let me look here at the advisor. We're going to talk about the hurricane force winds and everything else. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, now the hurricane force winds are still 30 miles from the center. That's the same as it was yesterday. Where it has changed is the tropical storm force winds have expanded out. Yesterday, they were about 80 miles out. Right now, it's 105 miles out. Okay, so it has expanded a little bit, and I think it's going to expand more. To give you a comparison, Helene's tropical storm force winds, those extended like some 425 to 450 miles from the center. It was a very large hurricane as far as its size is concerned. So, hey, Silver Ace, I appreciate you there watching from Tampa. Hey, Silver, if you got any information you want to share with the group, please put it down. And I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Thank you for coming on board here. I appreciate that. Any information you'd like to share with the group, please post it down in the chat, and I'll share it with everybody. So, again, we're watching to see how the storm evolves through the rest of today. I do expect it to get larger. I don't think it'll be as large as Helene as far as compass size, but I think it'll be more on the average size, 300 to 350 miles perhaps on the wind field, and hurricane force winds maybe going about 70 or 80 miles from the center. That's why I suspect we're going to get when we're closer to landfall on this thing. So again, I was talking to you earlier about the fact that I did not think that the flooding was going to be quite bad. I didn't get that far to show you there. Let me show that real quick. Let me hit that. There we go. Actually, let me switch this down to Florida. Before I switch over to this model, I want to show you this. So let me get to the state of Florida. We'll pull up the state here, and we'll take a Florida here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to pull up Florida here. I want to show you the rainfall amounts. Again, the big areas here that we're going to watch with the storm is obviously we got the flooding. All right, so we got a pretty good path here showing anywhere, I see 5 to 8 inches right through that core region. So I'm going to see some flooding into that area. Not looking as bad to the south. Again, parts of South Georgia does get impacted here just a little bit, but not as bad as anything close to Helene. So, but you clearly see the size of the storm is going to grow a little bit as it makes its landfall. Again, the core looks like it goes right over Tampa based off this model data here. This is the European model here, so that's where the heaviest rains are going to be. So we're going to look for flooding. Obviously, that's a concern. We saw the flooding concerns. We had the mountains, but the flooding, when you get flooding in the mountains, it all gets funneled in because of the orographics of the situation. Florida's pretty flat, so it'll just be flash flooding in the low-lying areas that flood. Better opportunity to get out of harm's way with this kind of flooding than, say, up in the mountains. Big difference, but flooding is a concern. Obviously, there's the tornado risk. Okay, we do have the tornado risk with this storm. Now, again, when you're talking about tropical systems, you're talking about weak ones, EF0s to EF1s for the most part. I do remember during Hurricane Ivan, I was working in Panama City at the time. That was a little bit a different setup than this one, and we had tornadoes that were actually EF2 to EF3. They were much stronger than what you typically traditionally see. So I don't believe that'll be the situation here. I think it'll be like Helene. Most of Helene's were EF0 to EF1, but obviously if one of these weak tornadoes hit your house, mess up your roof, mess up all your stuff. If you're in Florida, the big thing right now, especially the core, is folks need to make sure that they've secured their lawn furniture, secured their garbage cans, make sure they've secured anything that's outside. Obviously, folks are doing what they can to tape up their windows and doors. And I know a lot of folks there in Central Florida actually have the bars on the windows. That's definitely a big thing to have. So that's the other thing. And then finally, of course, the big granddaddy of them all is the storm surge, which is the big thing here. The angle at which the storm surge came in last time was a little bit different. So I want to use this map as an illustration here. Let me get this up here. Is when we were dealing with Helene, okay? Helene made landfall, up here. So, and I hate, really, like I said, I hate this illustrator, but it was right up here. So the water was kind of coming in at this angle, right? Okay, so with this thing charging in at this direction, the water is going to be charging in at a different angle, not kind of a grazing thing. It's going to funnel straight into the bay, depending on the angle of attack of where that center of circulation goes in. So right now, a 10 to 15 foot storm surge, as is predicted right now, is extremely high. They've never seen that kind of storm surge in an area. You'd have to go back to 1921 to see a major hurricane strike this area and come on through. Hey, I need to remind myself, I keep looking at the clock. If you're new to the channel, before you dump on out, again, our average turnover is about 4 minutes here on the channel. If you can help me out to keep that algorithm, to keep us up here, I need you to please leave a thumbs up down below. Leave a comment down below, and please consider subscribing to the channel. If I don't get those 3 things going on a regular basis here while we're doing live broadcasts, the YouTube algorithm says, forget you, I'm gone, and they'll go somewhere else. That's why, unfortunately, I've got to play the YouTube algorithm game, as I like to call it, and ask your help. I need your help to be able to do successful broadcasts. Otherwise, I will just be left with a handful of my regulars who I love. You know I love y'all, and you'll know who you guys are. But I can't build the channel, which is ultimately the goal. When you get into be a YouTuber, you want to build the channel. You want to get the bigger audience. You want to get folks to kind of come in and watch your product, Otherwise, you're just talking to yourself and talking to the wind. So please do that. I do appreciate that. Our last check here on my algorithm, let's check on that. We were about 4 minutes, still averaging about 4 minutes, which is good. We're up to about 142 views and 19 likes. Pretty good. And thank you for that new subscriber. See, you guys make it happen. We only need one more, and we're at 4,800. We can have a little celebration and say we're at 4,800. Only 200 more to go. I would love to get the 200 more subscribers in here for the coverage on this storm, so I ain't got to worry about it for the rest of the year. Set the new goal for next year. Maybe go, okay, next year in October we get to 10,000. So, but get that out of the way, and I can give away my weather radios. That's the thing I'm looking forward to doing on that. Hey, if you're new, you're checking on in and you're waking up, you're getting your coffee, and you're wondering what the heck's going on with the storm and everything like that, let's go ahead and give you the latest on Milton here, shall we? This is as of the 8 o'clock advisory, and there we go, Bambo. Hey, give yourself a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we get excited about the little things here, 4,800. It's so funny. I'm not going to name the guy. I was watching somebody's live coverage last night, and his likes were just kind of rolling like a car speedometer. I was like, man, I wish. It was funny to watch. I was like, damn, man, that dude it's just rolling. I'm like, oh, well, it's what it is. We're each our own, you know, everybody gets a little competitive. It's just nature. It's natural, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, so get back to this. I digress. I apologize. You're looking at, again, a storm that is still a major Category 4 hurricane. And the storm is expected to re-strengthen to Category 5 by later this afternoon. Now, because the eye is definitely starting to reemerge and the pressure looks like it's starting to fall a little bit, I'm going to be watching the Hurricane Hunter aircraft. In fact, let me check the latest out there from the Hurricane Hunter aircraft real quick. Let me double check that. I want to see what the latest is on that. I haven't looked at them in a hot minute. All right, there's one out there right now. Air Force 309's out there right now. Last drop they had was at 9:30, which is 9:29, basically what it is right now. So they're inbound to the eye right now, so we'll see what their next drop sound shows here on that. Looks like, yeah, 9:29 looks like about right. The no emission earlier, they're also in. There's two aircraft out there right now, so looks like still kind of holding its own around 929 millibars. So I'm waiting to see if we're going to see any big changes. As the sun comes up, we'll be able to look at the visible imagery a little bit better and check on that. Let me go back to the high res here. This is the infrared. Again, we don't have that nice clear donut there. You can see the center of circulation very well. I mean, that's showing up pretty nicely, but we don't have that cleared out eye in there. You can't really see that just yet. So if the eye begins to clear on out and we see the emergence of that, and there's still very intense thunderstorms, you know, wrapping around that center of circulation in there. If that eye clears on out, then we know that the storm is getting stronger once again. It did bottom out. If you didn't hear this yesterday, I'm sure everybody heard it was a Category 5. What was amazing yesterday that it went up from a 100-mile-per-hour storm up to a 180-mile-per-hour storm in a matter of hours. It wasn't a record breaker. Wilma in 2005 actually had the pressure drop 97 millibars in one day. That one's still the record one. But this one did become the second strongest hurricane ever in the Gulf of Mexico. I think Gilbert's the strongest on that. And the fifth strongest in the Atlantic tropical basin. So I do not expect this thing to re-intensify to that level. It may strengthen a little bit, but not too much. And the reason for that, the reason why we're going to see that change is because of the fact that it's going to be dealing with some dry air and some wind shear. And hey, I want to pause here for a second. Again, remember what I was telling you about the likes and the subscribes? The concurrent viewership jumps every time. It's back up to 24. That's why it's so important. If you're new here to the channel, first I want to welcome you here to my coverage here this morning on our hurricane. I'm going to go here for another half hour, but I just want to go ahead and give you guys the latest on this. I see Soaks in here. Just double checking my chat, make sure I haven't missed any questions here. Raymond in the house, how you doing? From St. Pete, good to see you from St. Pete, Raymond. Welcome on board here, brother. And there, Michael's up in Crestview, and we got, yeah, it's showing some decay there, Michael. I know that again, that dry air intrusion hasn't got into the core. The core of the hurricane, as you can see, there on the water vapor imagery is still, whoops, go down, is still looking pretty healthy. You got the dark green there. You got the eye that's dead center of there. Trippy Hippie. Good morning, Trippy Hippie. Good to see you. Welcome here this morning. Thank you very much. Again, hey, if you're just joining us here on the channel, my name is Greg, by the way. I like to refer to myself as your personal weatherman, and I say that because, hey, we're a small channel here, so I'm able to give you all one-on-one attention. If you got any questions, please post them down below. We are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, And thank you for that new subscriber. Look at that. We're up to 4,801. 199, folks. And we get to our grand goal of 5,000. You know, I'm not going to have the car speedometer like or subscribe button going here, which was funny. Again, I'm laughing at that because I'm like, God, look at his counter go, man. It was funny. But we are going to try to get to 5,000. The goal is to get to 5,000 here by the end of this storm. We want to try to reach as many people as possible to give you straightforward information. You know, I like to have fun with my coverage, but at the same time, we got to be serious because we're talking about life. We're talking about, we saw the death toll we had with Helene. We had, you know, it was over 250 was the last count. We're going to have deaths with this one. That can't be helped. Whenever you have a natural disaster, you're going to have it. The big thing we're trying to do is we want to reduce that risk. How do you reduce that risk? Well, by making sure that information gets out. It's such a whirlwind out there. You can get information from TV, you can get information from radio. You got your phone, you got social media, and social media can be a dangerous thing because sometimes it can put out erroneous, bad information. So you got to watch out for that. So we're going to see how this progresses with this storm. I'm really hoping for a storm that's going to weaken significantly, and stay further south. I'm not trying to say, hey, you guys down on the coastline into you know, further down the coast, down towards Sarasota and Inglewood and areas down in here aren't as important. It's just that the population and the amount of damage can be so much higher if that storm surge gets into this bay. If it gets into that bay and we're looking at a 10 to 15 foot storm surge, St. Petersburg's underwater, Tampa's underwater, part of Clearwater's underwater, Bradenton's underwater, it will be significant. Again, I keep comparing this to Katrina because as far as the flooding potential, yes, it is on par with the New Orleans Katrina if the storm surge gets into that gully. If the track stays south, which right now officially is just a little south of the bay, if it goes a little bit further south, the better. That'll take Tampa off the hook because the winds will be blowing from the opposite direction and would be blowing all that water out of the bay. That is so critical. And again, the difference in the storm surge is such a big deal. It really is. Again, this is a Category 1. Cat 1 doesn't look that bad. I mean, you got flooding, you're going to get that. That can't be helped, especially in that area. But when you see it jump to Cat 3, which is what it's expected right now, that's significantly more. See all that orange? That's 9 feet or above a storm surge. Hey, you take it to a 4, it's even worse. And let's say for kicks and giggles, this thing hit as a Cat 5. Boom. I mean, St. Petersburg's pretty much completely cut off and underwater. All the inland areas, the entire downtown Tampa's underwater. Again, you just can't. Sorry, right now, this is the level that they're expecting. 125 mile per hour winds. Storm, a Category 3, strong Category 3, maybe bordering Cat 4, and all that water going into Tampa Bay. That is going to be quite significant there. If you could do me a favor before the folks are kind of joining in, we're up to about 41 viewers here for this morning. If you could please do me a favor, leave a thumbs up before you leave here. We're a small little channel. So when you're a small channel, you need a little help from the viewers like you guys. I appreciate you taking your time, spend a few minutes with us here to get a little update here on this critical major hurricane that's going to be a significant one for Florida. It's already historic just because of the powerful nature of the storm. And if you could please consider it, please subscribe to the channel. It'd be an honor and pleasure to be one of your many YouTube sources out there to be part of this family here. Now, if you haven't heard the 8 o'clock advisory, the storm is back down to Cat 4. It is down to 145 mile per hour winds. It's continuing at east-northeast direction. The timing is slowed down a little bit here as well. They've got, right now, officially the Hurricane Center is bringing this storm in during about 2 o'clock Eastern time there along the west coast of Florida. The European model is a little bit slower. It looked like it was more towards 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's possible that the timing on this could change a little bit. If it speeds up a little bit further, it'll come in sooner. If it slows down a little bit, it'll be a little bit later. So the timing on this has pushed back a little bit. I know yesterday it was looking like it was going to be, 8 o'clock. Then it was going more toward a midnight time frame. Now it's pushed back into 2. So the trend has been pushing the timeline to the right, which, to be honest with you, is a bit of good news. It allows folks to get out of town, to see things can improve. I haven't looked at the traffic cams here lately, but let's go ahead and pull this up here. I wanted to take a look, and this is something I just added to the channel here to kind of look and see how things are looking. So we're looking at the traffic, which right now, compared to last night, folks, it was a mess out there last night. There were a lot of folks on the road. And other than some slow traffic, looks like we got some slow traffic up there where the turnpike and the 75 kind of meet here. So let me turn this back on here. Let's see if we can look at some cameras here and stream the video there. And we'll go full here so we can kind of see this. So you can see it's kind of stop and go traffic. Folks are heading out of town. They're going northbound, but at least it's moving. Now, we'll say this. There are a number of campgrounds that are open in Georgia. I know the Atlanta Motor Speedway down in Hampton is open for folks to boondock. Boondock means you don't have places to plug into and stuff, but you can self-contain. You can move your RV. You can evacuate out of the way, wait for the storm to go by. There's a lot of folks living in RVs and stuff in Florida that got to get out of harm's way. So they're allowing that. There's a big RV right there heading northbound. So that is to be considered, but at least the traffic is moving. And overall, let me turn that back on. There's so many traffic cameras, you just can't see what's going on. Looks like everything's moving pretty good through Gainesville, some stop and go there, and even some stop and go traffic going up into northern part of the intersection. Let me turn this camera back on. There's none going up that far north, okay? Oh, there's a little slow down traffic here on the line. Looking here at the line there, that's looking pretty, no stream on that one. So, okay, let's just checking that real quick. So we're going to continue to monitor the traffic situation there as well to see folks where we're going. So let's go back here to the regional radar here. Again, where they're evacuating, at least the weather is fine. I wish I could say the same for South Florida down toward Key West. Those aren't really directly the outer bands yet of our system just yet. This is mostly along that stationary front down toward Miami, seeing some of that. Let me go back over to Radar Mega real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the radars. So stand by for that real quick. I'm going to go over to the Key West radar here, see how far out I can go here. And see, it's still way too far out. Yeah, well, the radar don't go quite that far. So not quite there yet. So this rain that we're seeing, let me switch you over to Radar Mega real quick. Transition over here. And thank you for that new subscriber. I do appreciate you joining our family here. So we are looking at just plain old steady rains, pretty good rains here across areas north of Key West, going into Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Cape Coral. Just some pretty steady rains, a little thunder in there as well, but not looking too bad right here at the moment. Live look at Key West right now. You see Key West is pretty clear here for the moment, and here's the live camera there. Actually getting a little sunshine there in Key West right now, a little bit of a breeze. This is actually down toward where the cruise ships come in. And last night there was a cruise ship there, and we knew by the time we got this morning, it's gone. Yes, I do see that, Michael. Yes, we got 40 folks watching, and thank you very much. And our like count here today is now up to 30. So, and I have to do this for every. Hey, Mary Cuppersmith. Mary Cuppersmith just subscribed to the channel. Mary, welcome on board. And here's another reason why at 9:15 I'm going to have to shut down. It's ragweed season in Georgia. And our ragweed, by the way, here is through the roof. Let me switch back over to our satellite imagery. Stand by here. And because of that, I'm having to fight dry vocal cords. So one thing, obviously I got business at 9:15. I got to take care of with my dad. But I got to make sure that I can save the voice, obviously, for the rest of today and for a lot of that coverage for tomorrow. So I definitely got to pace myself a little bit. But I got to take the opportunities when we go on live like this to try to make sure that we grow the channel. And ultimately, you guys are the driving force for this channel. The more success that we have, the better it will be for you guys. The better resources I can dedicate to the channel for product. I pay for a lot of this out of my own pocket. A lot of my subscriptions, a lot of my Adobe products, things like to try to make this the best product possible. I pay myself. So my only reason why I wanted to even grow this audience was, well, I had to get it up to a point to where it's self-sufficient and paying for itself. That would be nice. You know, I have no ambition to have 2 million subscribers or anything like that, or 500,000 subscribers. I just want to get enough to maintain our own, to serve you guys and give you all the best weather coverage possible. Taking my years of experience working in TV, taking the experience that I had working on the Weather Channel tropical team back in the late 90s and working with great folks like John Hope and Steve Lyons, and kind of share my knowledge with you guys and give it to you in a straightforward manner, not over the top, not in your face, not screaming at you, not going crazy. We're going to get excited sometimes. I mean, I remember seeing tornadoes. You can't help but get excited, especially when you see tornadoes and stuff. When you see yesterday, I was getting excited watching the storm go down to 897 millibars, but also in the back of my head, I'm going, boy, this is bad news, because ultimately weather is about people because it impacts every single one of us. No matter where you are watching right now in the country, weather impacts everybody in some form or fashion, whether it be heat, cold, tropics, tornadoes, it doesn't matter. It impacts all of us. So how the weather impacts our lives, impacts our attitude, impacts our moods. And my goal is to try to give y'all the best channel possible by looking at things that are going on with this particular hurricane. I haven't looked at my Twitter feed yet. This is something I did add here as a new thing. So hold on one second. I do want to, and one thing about looking at Twitter is you can see updates and see what's kind of going on out there. So let me see here if that is up. That is up. Good deal. Let's transition over to Twitter here real quick, and you can see me in a little better background there with my little makeshift studio in my office here. So I am looking here. Let's go back here to the top. It went way down, didn't it? I had a lot of updates here. So I'm just kind of looking to see for any kind of video or any kind of thing that's out there. There you kind of see this was yesterday on the 7th. So a lot of folks were evacuating the 7th. So I'm just kind of looking to see. Oh, here's this video from yesterday. Here's a good one I want to show again. See that right there? That is debris left over from Helene in the Tampa area. That is unfortunate because, again, that's why the track of the storm is so critical. All of that debris that's been cleaned up in nice pockets and piles, we get a nice storm surge in there, it's going to pick up all that debris and just shove it inland, cause even more damage than what could possibly happen. So this is a double whammy, folks. This is something I've never seen, where you see one community get storm surged with one storm and then get it again less than 2 weeks later. They haven't even had a chance to remove this debris, and all this stuff looks like it could get floated up and taken on into Tampa, unfortunately. So let's go scroll down here a little bit here. This is, again, from 19 hours. I'm kind of looking for the most up-to-date here. Oh, let's do the latest. That would probably help if I'd hit the latest there. Okay, here we go. Just kind of streaming through this here a little bit. That was 23 hours ago. Usually this thing's usually quicker than this, but we're just kind of scrolling through here. And Tampa mayor issues warning to residents about leaving. Leave or die. That's pretty straightforward. The mayor's saying leave or you will die. That's pretty traumatic to see that. I probably need to go ahead and put another little thing on this channel. Maybe I'll put something in the other corner over there. Maybe put a little image of the satellite imagery on there. It's something I might consider changing a little bit. But anyway, go back over to this. So as you can see, and I will continue to monitor Twitter and see if there's anything out there that I can share with you guys. If you are watching from any of the areas, please remember to share that information. Let me go back to studio mode. Silver Ace has got a question here for us. Hey, Silver, what you got? Please talk about the dry air and the wind shear as well as the steering current. Pretty please. Not a problem there, Silver. Okay, so right now the steering currents, obviously, this thing's moving in a northeasterly direction, all right? So there's a couple things we got to watch with the system. Let me take this back down here. And you see all that yellow, that's very dry. That's dry air out here in the Gulf of Mexico, all right? So right now, you see how this thing's becoming a little bit elongated a little bit? That generally, it points you in the direction of movement. So we're definitely got a movement going in that direction. And I really hate the OBS telestrator. I don't know when I'm going to be able to fix that, but it is what it is. All right, so if any of this dry air gets wrapped into the system, that's going to be an automatic weakening effect. Remember earlier in the hurricane season when we were dead quiet? It was quiet for like 6 weeks. It was because of dry Saharan air and dust in the tropics, and it killed the tropical system. So dry air is a bit of kryptonite for a system. The other part of this is wind shear, all right? And I want to show you this on a model, so I have to get this ready real quick. Let me show you what this means here. I'm going to go over to the model data real quick, and I need to pull up the right one here. Let's get this pulled up to the 250 millibar. All right, so I want to show you this real quick. I want to show you the steering currents here and the wind shear. This system is going to be undergoing a dramatic change as it's making landfall. And what it does is you got this going forward. So here's our storm coming up. Here is our hurricane, as you can see right here. You see this jet stream in here. So this is higher winds, okay? The higher winds, they don't like it. Again, the eye best functions. When you get an eye that's completely cleared out, it's because the air is coming in at the surface, going through the middle, and it's evacuating out the top very efficiently. A hurricane is nothing more than one big giant heat engine. What happens to your car if I take your exhaust and I cover it up? It's not going to breathe very well, is it? It's also going to start jerking around and start not going to run very efficiently. That's the same thing we're talking about here with the wind shear. If the thunderstorms get blowing off the center of circulation and allows the air not to flow out the top very efficiently. So as I go forward here on this model here, what you're going to notice is this storm is going to get absorbed into that jet. It literally gets absorbed right into it as it's passing over Florida and going off, and it becomes non-tropical very quickly as it gets pushed on out to sea. So we got two little dips in the jet stream here kind of coming together. You got this one here. You got a little bit of an active subtropical, which is a little unusual to see this time of year, but that's going to push the system straight on out to sea very rapidly, and it's going to weaken rapidly as it exits Florida. Although officially from the Hurricane Center, they're still expecting this thing to remain as a hurricane as it exits the coast. By 1 o'clock on Thursday, it's exiting the coast near Cape Canaveral and going off and getting on out to sea, out to sea. And then it becomes a tropical storm as it goes by Bermuda, because obviously the jet stream is going to take this thing and just shoot it off. It won't even be a tropical system anymore. Hey, we're at 9 o'clock right now. Again, welcome to my YouTube channel here, the Weather Nerds Unite channel. A bunch of weather geeks. We like to talk weather here, but not being too techno-babble. I hope I explained that well for you there, Silver. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please help us. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers today. When we do these live broadcasts, we need all the help we can get from you guys watching here at home or on your phone or on your computer, because we're a small channel. And because we're a small channel, the YouTube algorithm reacts to likes, subscribes, comments in the chat. That's what it reacts to. So when people leave, and they do, because right now, my average turnover right now is averaging 4 minutes and 11 seconds. So every 4 minutes, 11 seconds, somebody's leaving, and then somebody else comes in. But they'll only come in if the people who've watched the product, when they leave a comment, do a subscribe, do the thumbs up. Like right now, we're up to 36 likes. When we had our broadcast for Hurricane Helene, that was our most successful broadcast of the day. We had 7,000 viewers for that day. We had 350 likes in for the day. We added 250 new subscribers to the channel for the day. So that was our most successful. For a small channel our size, that's pretty good. So when we're doing this kind of broadcast stuff for you guys, I just need your help, and just help this old Army retired guy out. He needs all the help he can get trying to build this channel for you guys for not only this storm, but obviously things down the line going into the winter season, obviously winter storms and stuff like that, and severe weather season, which hopefully November does not get active. I am a little worried about that, but we're not going to worry about that right now. I just noticed that the weather pattern with the jet stream looks kind of amplified a little bit. If that continues into November, that could be some problems for severe weather, but not anything certain for right now. So I digressed here. So let's go back up here to the latest here on the storm here. Let's look at let's go back over here to the regional, and I want to kind of show a little bit what I'm seeing here on the close-up circulation. So I'm gonna go back over here to my little handy dandy weather wall. I love my weather wall. You know, I used to do this for a living, so I used to sit in front of a green screen and do this. So when I built my own weather office, I want to make sure I can have the same capability here. So looking at the center of circulation right there, very nice concentric. Got a nice what's called a CDO. It's a central dense overcast here. Now this eye, which is larger than it was yesterday, is not cleared out. Okay, it's what's happened overnight when it got down to 4 miles in diameter. It goes to what's known as an eye wall replacement cycle. And it usually takes about 24 hours for that thing to circle on through. So seeing some very intense thunderstorms here on the west side of the storm. See that little white right through there? So if this thing starts to clear out and the pressure starts to fall again, right now it's at 929 millibars. I'll check the Hurricane Hunter aircraft here in a second. But it looks like this thing is going to potentially re-strengthen, and that's what the Hurricane Center is expecting. They're taking the winds back up to 160 briefly. Now, as it gets further up the way here, the environment is going to be less dynamic. As I just showed you there on the model data, we've got higher winds that are going to be there. I'm really hoping some of this dry air gets sucked into this thing because, again, think of a hurricane. This thing is one big, giant vacuum cleaner. If it can suck some of that dry air into the core, that'll definitely weaken this thing. So we want to weaken this thing as much as possible, and we want it to track south of Tampa. It's going to do damage anyway. Let's try to at least minimize as much as possible for those areas. But if we go south of Tampa and keep that water out of the bay, that'll be very important. But definitely looking very robust. I think once this thing clears out, which I think it might, it's definitely going to be a wider eye than what we were dealing with yesterday. Yesterday it was like 8 miles. It got down to 4 miles. I think this thing will probably be closer to 20, 25 once it closes off there. So that's what we're seeing right now with the center of circulation. Hey, Alan, what we got here? Oh, he's asking for my next update here. My next update, I will come back on at 11 o'clock. That's when I'm planning to come back on. I've got to go take care of my father. He's in assisted living down the street here. So as a result, I've got to meet with his caretaker about 9:30 this morning. So I'm going to go for another 10, maybe 15 minutes. We'll go to 9:20. It only takes me like 2 minutes to get down there. So let me look at some of these questions here. Would you recommend evacuating Orlando for someone living on the second floor of a stick or brick apartment building? It depends on how comfortable you are. All right, I would say that you're probably going to see some hurricane. Let's look at the wind profile on this, just so I'm not talking out of my butt. So hold on one second. Let's get that up real quick. Let's go back to the hurricane, and I'm going to see what the winds are doing through there. All right, so looks like the winds are, that's going to be awfully close. All right, let me show you this real quick. Go back to my model mode here, and let me turn that down. So this is looking at 11 o'clock tonight, and you see it kind of coming inland there. So it looks like it's bringing hurricane force gusts. I think you're obviously going to lose power there in Orlando. I think that's a good chance that's going to probably happen. That center may go pretty close. This one's pretty far north. This one actually shows the center getting awfully close to going over Orlando, just south of there. That center going right through there. You can see what's left of the center at that time. Like I said, this storm's going to be transitioning at the time. Look at these heavy winds here on the north side. I got a cluster of some heavy winds here on the east side as well, but not as heavy. So go with whatever you feel was comfortable. I would say just shelter in place. But if you're scared of the wind, if you're scared of the power, if you're near any trees that could potentially fall over on your place, I don't know where you live. If you want to evacuate, I'd say just head north, or actually head south. I'd probably head down toward Miami. Easy to go that way. Everybody's been heading northward, but just go whatever you feel is comfortable. Okay, let's go down here. And thank you for subscribing to the channel there, Alan. I do appreciate you coming on board. Mary Culpepper, I'm in Inglewood, Florida. Haven't left yet. Very calm here. Oh, that's good. Well, I wouldn't be sticking around there. If you're going to be evacuating, please do so. I keep going. It looks like a lot of people were heeding the warnings yesterday. One thing that surprised me, let me go back to that traffic cam here. One thing that has surprised me so far, and I have to go back to my interactive mode. Stand by for a second. I got to pull back out. Let's go down here toward Florida. And I got to turn my cameras off. They overloaded a little bit. It's surprisingly not looking that bad on these the roads. When I was looking at Tampa last night, there was so much red and yellow on this. And thank you for the new subscriber, by the way. Thank you. 197 more to go. Again, we're not the odometer. I love that. I would love to see that thing turn into a odometer one day. That was fun to watch. I got to admit that. If that was my YouTube channel and my damn new subscribers was moving like an odometer, I get excited too. But the one thing that's surprising me, and that is, Alan. Hey, Alan Isabel. Okay, hey, Alan, good to have you on board there. Thank you for subscribing. Is the lack of traffic out there. The Orlando airport did shut down today. The Tampa airport shut down today. Orlando shuts down tomorrow. So Orlando flights are still flying out. Tampa, they shut down today. But the only place that I'm seeing any kind of traffic is basically here toward the north. So where the turnpike and 75 kind of come together here. So let me turn these cameras back on here. We'll just pick one here at random, and we'll show the video here. So as you can see, the traffic it's moving, but it's pretty slow. As long as it's moving northward, it's a sunny day, not looking bad there across Central Florida right now. You wouldn't know there's a hurricane knocking on your door, but at least traffic is moving, and the traffic is still moving southbound as well. What sometimes will happen if it gets bad enough, what they will do is they'll shut down the southbound line. They'll turn everything north, south. They'll turn them both in the same direction. I don't think that's the case today. I don't even think that's even necessarily needed. But let me turn these cameras back off again. But again, looking at Tampa itself, not looking bad there at all. Let's pull up a camera there at random. Just kind of look here. We'll look at one of these outer cameras here. And yeah, not bad at all. Looking pretty good. Thank you for the new subscriber. I do appreciate that. Hey, we're not an odometer, but we're adding to it one at a time. And 400 views here for this morning's update. Definitely not bad for an hour and 10 minutes. Not bad. I can't complain about that. All right, so but at least traffic here is moving pretty good there in the area. And I want to I'm going to keep monitoring the traffic there. Oops, doggone it, you got to close it first, dummy. I'll be monitoring this very closely throughout the day. I like this 511 site. Good thing to have to kind of check and see how things going. Not to mention you can check some of the cameras there on some of the bridges and stuff to see how the weather conditions are also looking. So it's good to have those other channels. Hey, it's 9:10 here on Tuesday, October 8th. And I'd like to welcome all of the folks. We got 53 people here looking at the channel. Let me give you your 9 o'clock update here, or the 8 o'clock update here on Milton. Again, Hurricane aircraft are out there currently. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider it. I will be doing these on and off updates here throughout the day. I'm going to go for another 10 minutes. I got to take care of an appointment with my Vietnam era retired dad who's in assisted living near me. I got to meet with his attendant care team today. And then I will come back up before the 11 o'clock advisory. I'll come up for the 11 o'clock advisory. And we'll probably do another hour and a half on that one. We'll do it again on 2. And then we're going to do extended coverage here late tonight. So if you'd like to be notified for all these things in your app, if you do subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell on your phone there. Do that. And it'll alert you and it'll tell you when we're doing these discussions and these stuff. We're a small channel. We're not very big. So the only way you can help our channel out is by subscribing. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And give a thumbs up. When we're doing these live broadcasts, it requires a lot of interaction on your part to help me. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. So we had a pretty good successful broadcast with Helene, and hopefully we'll have another successful broadcast here for Milton. And the whole point of this is to make sure that we give you straightforward information on the storm. The 3 factors on the storm are going to be storm surge, obviously, which are going to be tremendous there across the coastline. So we're talking a 10 to 15 foot storm surge, potentially getting into Tampa Bay if the track stays just north of the bay. Right now, the trending is south, which is good, but it doesn't mean areas further south are going to be impacted more severely. The other factor is going to be flooding rains because we're looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 inches there across the interior section, so some flooding, but nothing on a scale like Asheville. We're not talking about anything like that. And then the last thing, obviously, is tornadoes. We're going to have that as a possibility as well. So we're looking at, again, the tornado risk. That's the tornado risk there, running about 10% from Tampa, Orlando, Daytona Beach, all down to the right side of the center. Weak tornadoes, EF0s, EF1s, that's a possibility. Again, the flooding risk there, it's running high. That's where that 6 to 8 inches of rain is possible, depending across the central portions of Florida. And of course, that storm surge that we just talked about. So looking at the latest here on the storm, and I'm looking at the latest imagery here, at least the eye has not cleared out yet. Let me look here. I haven't looked at these. I'll look here at the, trying to see if we got a new drop sound here on the hurricane. So let me double check this real quick. And they did drop a new one. That was as of 12:54. That was about 30 minutes ago, looks like. Okay, so it looks like it's holding its own. It's holding steady, which is good. All right, so the storm is not giving me indications. There's 2 aircraft out there right now. And right now, looking at the satellite imagery and looking at the pressure right now, I don't see any indications of strengthening. It is holding its own. It's not getting weaker. anymore. It looks like it's stabilized about 929 millibars, 930 or so. So I don't see that changing right now. And let me look at the latest vortex message. Let me see that real quick. Vortex message is a drop sound that the hurricane or aircraft drop into the hurricane. I can't read this. Most people my age have to wear glasses because they need it for reading. I'm a little nearsighted. I can see fine. But let me double check this. Let's see what the last one they got in here. All right. So last vortex message showed at 9:31. It was a closed eye. The eye is 13 miles in diameter, so still a fairly compact eye. Flight level winds 137 knots. I gotta check. I forget the miles on that one. Let me double check that one here. I can't do the conversion in my head. You think I would have that down by now. So I'm just double checking this real quick. I think it's like 155, 157. I was close. So 157. So we still got flight level winds to 157 miles per hour. So what happens, those flight level winds, the winds will start elevated and they'll spin and they'll kind of work their way down here a little bit. I think that's probably why they anticipate the storm to re-strengthen a little bit. Let me go back here to Radar Omega here. We'll plot this out and I'll show you this real quick because I can show you both the satellite and this. So let me go back here to satellite mode. I think we're up high enough. Maybe we can get a good visible here yet. Not really. It's still crappy. Not quite light enough yet, but we're getting there. We'll go back to long wave here. All right, we go over here to Radar Omega here. We'll talk about this. And thank you for everybody. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please let's get that subscribe number going up a little bit. Help us out here. I really want to get 5,000. I want 5,000. Come on, y'all hit that subscribe button. Help me out here. Let's get that channel growing. Let's get it moving. All right, so here we go. We got. Again, just kind of holding its own. Right now, again, the winds are 145 miles per hour. That was as the 8 o'clock advisory. Now they're anticipating it by 2 o'clock this afternoon to perhaps getting up to 160. I will say this right now, based off satellite imagery and based off what I'm seeing with the Hurricane Hunter aircraft out there, that might be a bit of a stretch. I don't know if it's going to rebound that much to get back to Cat 5 status. Not seeing it yet. Not saying it won't happen. I'm just not seeing any indication here at 9:16 that this thing's going to re-intensify in the next 5 hours and back up to 160 from current 145. It may come up a little bit, but right now it's not showing me that. Now, as it progresses here to the north, it comes back down to 155 by 2 o'clock in the morning. By Wednesday afternoon, it's back down to 145. So we're sitting there, gust to 175. And then they got the landfall here. It looks like it's just inland just a little bit at 2 o'clock in the morning. If I backed it up about an hour, it looks like maybe midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning here for landfall. Actually, this is all in Central Time, my bad. So this would be 3 o'clock. So about 2 o'clock or so landfall time. Now, the European model is a little bit slower with this. Let me back this out again so you can see the perspective here of the storm. You're going to notice, you obviously can tell by looking at the satellite imagery that the storm is larger than it was yesterday at this time. Yesterday, it was so tight. The hurricane force winds still only go about 30 miles from the center, but the tropical storm force winds, as of the 8 o'clock advisory, are about 110 miles from the center as compared to 80 yesterday. And I suspect by the 11 o'clock advisory, that trend of those tropical storm force winds going out will continue as it continues to grow in size. Not so much strength, but the size. That wind field is going to expand out. Now, why is that important? The bigger the wind field, the more storm surge. Okay, the more acreage is covered by those higher winds to push that wave action inland. So the fact that the storm's growing in size, not so much in wind, it is wind speed is an important part of it, but also the size of the storm is also important. This one is a relatively small hurricane. Comparison, Helene, at its strongest, tropical storm force winds went 425 miles from the center of circulation. 425. This one, 105, 110 right now. So it is about 30% the size, roughly, of what Helene was. So it was a much larger storm. However, we are anticipating this storm is going to get larger, get bigger in size, not so much strength, size, as we progress into tomorrow. The wind trend is downward. We are expecting the winds, which are sitting at 145, by the time making landfall to be somewhere around 125 miles per hour. I am noticing a couple of storm chasers. Let's see if these guys are broadcasting right now. Yeah, they got one of these. Yep. So they got the storm chasers are getting into position here for landfall. We were able to track their landfall of Helene when it was making landfall there in the Florida panhandle. And we'll be watching these guys. But traffic, as you can see, moving pretty good right now. There, he's on the north side of Tampa right now, kind of working his way into town. So we'll see how that works out as we get closer to this and get going. So before I go ahead and sign off here, I want to do one more thing here. Again, I will be coming back. I will be back at 11 o'clock. I will please, before you guys leave, please, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you're alerted on when I'm doing these live updates. I will continue to do these throughout the day. Long form discussions. We're open for anybody's questions here. And also, before I leave, I want to double check these questions here. Some of this kind of caught up on me a little bit. Captain Starwalker in the house. AMS in Hampton, Georgia. Yes, I mentioned that earlier, Captain Skywalker, that the Speedway is open for campers. They opened up. Also in Albany, Georgia, they are open for campers as well. They're opening up there as well for folks who want to stay there. Paige the Bomber, good morning there, Paige. Good to see you. Welcome on board, Kendall. Mitchell, good morning. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. No, Michael is not affiliated with my channel. I am by myself. There are no employees. It's so funny when you see the Ryan Halls of the world. He's got people that actually work for him. He's so big. He's got people that he actually pays to do stuff for him. I'll never get that big. No, nothing like that. A little bit. I think that front's interacting a little bit, but we'll see. I really don't think that front's gonna basically wash itself out here a little bit. That's what's causing the rain across South Florida right now. Mary's talking about the Inglewood area. Let me double check here. I want to make sure I don't know all my geography down there. So let me take a look. So here we go. Oh yeah, you definitely gonna go out there. If you're in Inglewood, if I'm gonna be honest with you, go to the other side. Go to Port St. Lucie. Stay close. Go to the other side of the state. But I darn sure wouldn't stay in Inglewood. Absolutely not. Head inward if you want to get away from everything. As far now, you will still be under the tornado risk there, obviously for that part of the state. But you're away from the storm surge, which is going to be the big thing for the Inglewood area. Do not stay in Inglewood. Just head east. Get on Alligator Alley there. Just head on over. Well, that's for Alligator Alley, for south. But just head on over. What road is that? That is what road that is. But just head on the other side of the state. That's what I would do. I'm forecasting if you live a stream all day, cycles through the updates models and stay on message, you'll get 10,000. Oh, dude, I wish. I wish I could get 10,000 subscribers in a day. That would be to your unfortunately, I got to pace myself. I'm going to lose my voice if I don't. And I got this business I got to take care of here in a minute. But yeah, I wish I could get 10,000 subscribers. That's not going to happen today. Okay, Mary. Yeah, I would head west. I would head east. Just go to going northward. It might be a bit of a problem. I go to the other side of the coast. I think you're fine over there. And you're far enough south, I think the hurricane winds will stay to your north. That's why I'm recommending. Healing with nature. Yep, head inland. Fort Lauderdale. Yep, Miami. That's fine. Yep, absolutely. Tamika, watching from Columbus. Good morning, Tamika. Good to see you there. There's Joni from Albany watching. Good morning, Joni. And thank you for those 2 new subscribers. Yeah, I appreciate that, folks. We were joking earlier, for those who were just catching our broadcast, I was joking about another YouTuber who got really excited last night late. I was going on, but he's got like 100 times the audience I got. I didn't realize he was broadcasting at the same time. And late, I was going to bed, and his doggone subscriber meter was moving like a damn car odometer, and he was getting so excited. I was like, damn, dude, I wish. It was funny to watch, but yeah. You get excited when, and thank you for those subscribers. You guys are great. You're awesome. Again, by subscribing, by the way, you're automatically enrolled to win a free NOAA Weather Radio. We're giving away 8 NOAA Weather Radios when we get to 5,000 subscribers. That's part of the reason I like to try to give it a little bit of a push to get to 5,000. And yeah, keep that thing going. And here's the thing. When y'all subscribe, Again, make sure you hit that notification bell, okay? Because I am going to power down here in just a few minutes. I got to take care of this business with my dad. I'll come back at 11 o'clock, stay on probably another hour, hour and a half or so for then. Then we'll come back at 2 and we'll do the updates. We're going to be on longer tonight between 5 and 9 o'clock. I'll probably do some extended coverage tonight. And I'd like to keep you guys up on this. Again, I know there's a lot of us out there. There are so many folks out there in the YouTube universe. You got to go with who you feel you're most comfortable with, who you like, who's going to give it to you straight, who you're most comfortable with. You know, I'm just a weather geek at heart. I love doing this. This is my passion. It's not my business. The only reason why I want to get my subscriber base up is, yes, I am monetized, but I don't make a lot of money here, folks. I'm buying half of my stuff to get the radios away, but I would like to at least become self-sufficient. And what I mean self-sufficient is to pay for all my subscriptions, my Adobe and stuff like that, and increasing the audience. And when you guys subscribe, like y'all just did, the last 4 or 5 of y'all that just came on board here, the YouTube algorithm picks this thing up. So every time we do these live broadcasts, I have to beg, please like my channel, please subscribe. I have to do that because if I don't, the YouTube algorithm goes, forget you. We're not gonna promote you in somebody else's feed, because the turnover on this thing is 4 to 5 minutes. That's what happens with that. So again, I got quick made up name. Careful recommending people go to Miami, Fort Lauderdale. The storm could very easily begin to head straight east or do. I don't see that. I don't see that. If they want to stay fairly close, I think heading south is not. I don't get any indication from the 18Z model runs here that's the case. Going north obviously is the case, but everybody, their mother's uncle's been heading northward. That's the only thing I can say on that. I think going to the other coast is fine. The question is, make sure you call ahead and see who's got, obviously hotel rooms and things available. You got to check ahead. Go whatever makes you most comfortable. I'm just giving my opinion where I would go. I just go to the other coast, wait over there, and come back. That's me. That's what I would do. You got to do whatever you feel is the most comfortable here. Going north, what I'm worried about later today, and I'll go back over to traffic conditions, is that we had a nice surge of people last night. Let me turn this off. Got too many cameras. They got a lot of cameras, which I really like. But I'm worried about folks deciding last minute to cancel out. Right now, Tampa is looking good. Down toward the Inglewood area, look at all these roads. All these roads heading west to east, going across, you can make it to the other side really quick, an hour and a half or something like that. I do not see any indication that this core of this hurricane is going to be coming that far south down toward Miami area. I don't see that right now. Believe me, if I see any abrupt changes in this course, one thing that's been consistent with this thing, and I will say this for this much, and I want to go back to the model data here real quick. I know I got to leave, but I got to get this out first. Let me go back here to the model data here. Let me switch this out. Let me get that out of the way. Get this up and down. Is the European model has been the most consistent with this thing. The only thing that's changed slightly is that it's not going quite northeast. It's almost going due east here. That's the only change there, a slight deviation there. But as far as landfall, it has been dead set on the Tampa area for the last 5-6 runs. It's not changed at all. I always look for model consistency. European model did an excellent job with Helene. It nailed it. So I go with the model that I trust the most, and I do trust the European the most over the American GFS model. The American GFS model tends to blow things up. It tends to waffle a little more than it should. I've never understood why the American weather model cannot seem to work it out and be better than the European one. But the European model is showing that right through there, coming in toward tomorrow morning. The only delay here, the European model is delaying this thing a little bit later toward 8 o'clock in the morning. Notice that timestamp in the upper right-hand corner. 8 a.m. Eastern for that potential landfall. So we'll see what happens with the 11 o'clock update to see if that goes a little bit later. All right, folks, if you're on the channel right now, before I shut down, I got 77 of you out here. Do me a favor. All y'all, I'm talking to you. You there watching their TV and you got your phone here. You're looking right here. I want you to take your time, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button. So you got that, so that when I'm doing my updates here throughout the day, and of course, we're going wall to wall tomorrow, that you are alerted for those broadcasts. So please do that. Help us out. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers here. We're at 4,811 right now. So help us out. And before I leave, I want to give one more, because I see we got a little surge here, people watching. So I want to do one more thing before I shut down here, because I got to go take care of my daddy. I'm sorry, I got to do that. He's a Vietnam veteran. He's in assisted living. I got to help him out. So I got to leave. And thank you. See, there's somebody listening. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Before I leave, I want to give this last coordinates again. Right now, as of the 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Advisory, we're sitting at 145 mile per hour winds. Pressure's at 929. Pressure's up slightly. Last one I saw was 931. So it's come up just a little bit, but I think the winds are going to hold their own. I don't see a uptick in strength. I'm not seeing it on the satellite imagery. I'm not seeing it with the hurricane aircraft out there right now. I think the storm's just kind of holding its own right now. But the Hurricane Center does anticipate there's a possibility. And thank you, Pink Warrior Karen. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you very much. There is a possibility the storm could potentially re-strengthen to a Cat 5. I'm leaning more toward, I don't think that happened. I think the storm's just going to kind of hold its own. If it strengthens, it'll be slightly. But I got to see some better images here on the satellite imagery where that eye gets like we saw it yesterday, where it clears on out completely and it gets funneled on out of there. So that's what we're kind of waiting on. All right, that's your 9:30 right now. I'm shutting down. I got to go take care of my dad. I apologize for that. Again, before I leave out here, go ahead. Come on, y'all. Hit the subscribe button. Get that thing rolling. And I'll be back up here at 11 o'clock, and I'll get you guys the latest on the 11 o'clock, and I'll talk to y'all. If I have any questions, we'll do everything out there, and we'll get it going. And it is moving, Sherry. That's just a high-res image. There's just a lot of images on that update right there. It's moving at about 12 miles per hour, so it is moving, okay? All right, that's it for now. You guys take it easy. We'll see you back in here at 11 o'clock. Again, hit that subscribe button before you go. We'll see you back in here at 11 o'clock.